Hey everyone, it's Orange. Welcome to my June 2017 Rune and Dungeon Team Showcase video. This video is very belated, I'm sorry about that, but I'm just getting around to it now. So this month I have notes and stuff, everything's really legit, and yeah, I don't know, I thought I'd tell you guys about that. So first let's talk about what I worked on this past free rune removal, then we'll do the runes, then the dungeon runs as usual. So on free rune removal, there were two main things that I did. Number one, I tried out cleave teams. I'm in the process of looking to build some new AOs because I think having a few more AOs is going to be key for me to eventually get Guardian 2 a couple more times / consistently. So I'll show you guys the main one that I was testing out, this one. I'm still not sure if Lagmaron and the Fire Homunculus, if they are my best choices or options for damage dealers. I also have Amir, Julie. I can change the homunculus to water if necessary. I don't know how much that'll cost though. And also my guildmates were telling me that Isabel is really good with Ganymede. I have Ganymede 2, which is Ganymede is the this dude. If you guys don't know about that one, you might because he's really, really good in RTA, so you guys might have seen him there. So yeah, I have Isabel who might work, and there was one other thing, but I'm forgetting. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. So this was the main one that I tried. It didn't go too well, so I abandoned ship, abandoned that plan, and I still had other stuff that I improved, so I was pretty satisfied with all of the upgrades that I made on free rune removal. I didn't feel too pressured to get my cleave team fully functioning. So the other things that I did, or the one other thing, was putting will runes on more of my Guild Wars units. So I'll mention a couple really big ones. Theomars has will now. And in the past, he's always been on Broken. I think 1 month I had him on Revenge, but that was a really long time ago. So yeah, Violent Will. Chasun down here is Violent Will 2. Last month she was on Shield. The month before and all the other months she was on Broken or like Energy or Guard or something like that. So yeah, Will's really important for Guild Wars and very strong in Guild Wars. Khmun is a new monster that I pulled last month, so he's a brand new monster that you guys are seeing, and I put him on Will Shield for Guild Wars 2. There are quite a few instances where you're going to let the enemy team move first, and if you have Will Shield, it's very strong because there are some monsters out there that can remove your will runes, like Orion's a really big one. So I did put Huadam on Will Shield 2, mainly to bring against Orion teams. I use Theomars, Chasun, Huadam, and that's really good there. And also I did that to Khmun too, just in case I can't use Huadam or whatever. I wanted to have a backup monster. Khmun's a new monster to me, so I'm still getting familiar with how to use him, how to build him, what's going on with mine, all that sort of stuff. Ritesh I wasn't able to get on Will, but he's one that I do want to put on Will eventually. And I think that might be it. If I notice anything, I will mention it later on in the video. And one other thing to mention this month, this is the first month, I think it's the first month, where I'm actually buying scrolls from the Glory Shop. I'm not quite there with Guild Shop, but this is a pretty big milestone for anyone who's playing Summoner's War, finishing out your buildings. I did leave 2 of these not fully upgraded, just to kind of test out to see if I would have a glory point overflow. I'm not sure what the correct term is, but if there are weeks, I had a suspicion I might be earning more glory points than necessary I might be able to buy all these scrolls every week, even on reset weeks. Reset weeks might balance out with non-reset weeks, and I might actually earn more glory than I need. So I left these not upgraded just so I can have some things left to buy, just for efficiency, not to be wasteful, because if I upgraded these two fully and I'm just, you know, playing the game, buying all these scrolls, there might be a point where I have a ton of glory left over and I have to waste it on something pretty much useless like an Angelmon. So yeah, I'm just kind of in the testing phase to see what's going on with my glory points week to week. And it does depend if I do refills for Rush Hour or refills just in general. If I do refills, I will have extra glory points, and yeah, so that's what I've been noticing, but we're still seeing what's going on here. So yeah, that's a pretty big thing. Hopefully some more Nat 5s will come my way, but we'll see about that, because it takes a while to get enough scrolls to guarantee, well, not guarantee, but to have a chance at a Nat 5, because I'm only getting 4 a week. But yeah, thought I'd mention that. So let's go ahead and keep it rolling and get into the monsters. So yeah, let's do it. The first monster up is Khmun, and I only have him out here because I was debating using him with a slow, hard-hitting Lucian for Guild Wars and Arena. I wasn't able to make that happen. I wasn't satisfied with the damage I can make a Lucian do. I think for Guild Wars, my Lucian was... I can make a Lucian do 11,800 damage, something like that. No, maybe it was less than that, but he's kind of on the border of not being able to kill certain things like Chasuns and Orions. A lot of people I've seen with their Orions, they try to shoot for like 30,000 or more HP just to defend against single Lucians in Guild Wars, so I decided to hold off on that. Plus, I like having my double Lucians runed up. So actually we have another Lucian rotation coming up, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to summon for it, but I'm not 100% sure. So I kind of want to have a third one just so I can run double Lucian and also have another one if I want to build a slow hard-hitting one. So with Khmun and with a slow hard-hitting Lucian, you give him as much damage as you can make him have. You don't worry about speed at all. So most of the time they end up with close to 0 speed, and that's how Khmun works. You know, filling up the attack bar to buy 100%. I don't know, people on Reddit were talking about it, I don't get it, but that's how it works. So I was going to use Bernard Kona Lucian for Guild Wars. Bernard boosts up, Kona's speed tuned with Bernard, Kona fills up Lucian, and Lucian will move. That's what I've seen happen. The Lucian moves even if he doesn't have any speed. So yeah, Kona's fully skilled, obviously, and I'm not going to show you his runes. Next monster is Soha. I was testing her out as my stripper for my cleave team in Arena, but that didn't end up working, so she is just kind of sitting out here. I was using her for the Fire Rift Beast, and my Rift Beast teams are all messed up right now, and I've been wasting a little bit of energy on those because my teams are worse, which means I have to do more runs to get the necessary amount of materials to craft the reappraisal stones each week. But yeah, I'll have to fix those sometime soon. I've just been a bit lazy, but I need to not be lazy because you gotta not be lazy if you are mostly free to play or if you're not spending that much money, just to make the most out of everything. Next monster is Megan. She is on her usual build for use with a double Lucian arena offense, but I did rune up Khmun before her, so she lost a little bit of defense and HP. Actually, hold on. I have it pulled up here and I can show you guys what's going on with Megan. But yeah, I built her the same way that I always build her. Lots of accuracy, 85% accuracy, speed tuned to move with Bernard when I'm using her with Shimate leader, 24% leader or without, and then I make her tanky after that. So let's see, let me go over here and pull up Megan. So overall she lost effective HP and effective HP defense broken, but she gained some other things. Not really. She kind of got worse, but she's basically the same. I haven't noticed any drastic, you know, performance issues with her. She's performing just the same. Here is my Sig. I left him unchanged from last month, so there's not really much to talk about with him. I still use him on my Fire Rift Beast team, and I think that's the only place. This month we had a Lyrith as the TOA hard boss, and I usually use him with Lyrith because he's really good at stunning those ads that she puts out, because you generally need to stun them. I actually used this team. 0 out of 10 would not recommend because I don't have a defense break. If you put in Bella here, I think this team would work wonderfully. But yeah, I usually use him there, but I have Ganymede, so I don't really need to use him anymore because Ganymede's super OP. Next monster's Theomars. He did see some pretty big changes, so the main thing was Will, and I'm actually going to pull up his stats here so I can refresh my memory as to what exactly changed with him, and I can talk to you guys about it too. So Theomars was a big monster that I wanted to look at improving. I haven't been doing that great in Guild Wars. I did improve him, and my performance has gone up. So let me go ahead and pull up Theo over here. Let's see. Okay, so he gained a lot of effective HP and effective HP defense broken, and he gained a lot of speed. That's the main thing with him. Last month I was noticing I would fight a lot of Theo teams, like Theo, Chasun, whatever, and my Theo would always get his passive popped on the first turn because the enemy would move first. So I looked at speeding up my monsters and make my team move before the enemy team does, and for the most part that's been a good thing. It's backfired in a few cases. Sierra, Orion, Rakan. You can replace Rakan with Laika or whatever, there's a couple other things, Perna, something like that. If Orion doesn't harmless prank, most of the time I move before Sierra does, and I lose my will buff. I've been bringing Theomars, Chasun, Huadam, so yeah, I've been not bringing that team against that. Well, actually I have. I've been risking it. When I looked to build him, I was worried about his damage being low, but on the optimizer, I calculated how much damage he would do under the most common circumstance I'm using him. So generally I use Theomars, Chasun, Huadam, so Theo's gonna have the attack buff, but most of the time the enemy probably won't be defense broken. So the amount of damage Theomars' first skill does to a non-defense broken enemy, according to the optimizer, I was satisfied. It looks like he's doing 12,800, and of course it depends on their defense, but yeah, I liked that damage, so that's my Theo. Overall, great improvements for my Theomars. He's very good this month. Next monster's Galleon. I actually ruined him up yesterday. I did test him out with that cleave team that I showed you guys. So for a cleave team, Galleon needs to be on will and sometimes shield sets. Violence good too in case he misses a defense break or, you know, it gets resisted or whatever. Yeah, it would have to get resisted. He can possibly violent and then get another chance at doing that. So I thought maybe violent will's good for him on a cleave team and then have shield on something else. I don't know. So I did rune him up. He's kind of on leftover stuff and he's only runed for giants right now. Right now, I'm only using him in Giants and Dragons, and I'm pretty sure that's it. So his accuracy dropped. I went for 45% accuracy. Actually, I should go for 55% because I'm using him in Dragons, but I'm not farming Dragons this month, so I didn't quite look for that. And I also made him faster than all of my monsters. I'll show you guys my current Giants team. So I made sure to make him faster than my fastest monster, which is actually this Lucian, I think. Yeah. 103 plus 117. Yeah, that Lucian is my fastest monster. So I made Galleon faster than him just so he can possibly buff that Lucian up to help that Lucian clear waves in Giants. So he's runed for Giants right now, and that's it. And to get him to be able to be runed for that, I had to go for all these weird sets. The shield set is, all these sets aren't, I didn't go for them purposefully, they just ended up there. Here is my Rigel. I don't know which one this is. Oh, I guess they're tied. So I don't know if this is the worse Rigel or the better one. No, this is actually the better one, I think, because he has skill ups. So what I did last month when I runed up my Rigels and this month, for the one that has full skill ups, I made him hit harder. So I found a build that I liked that made him do good damage. Then I runed up the other one after him because that other one doesn't have full skill ups, and I made sure to make the other one faster. When the Necro boss has the buff up, you can't debuff him, so I like the one without full skill ups moving first so he can try to get through that shield before this one moves, because this one has a higher chance of landing his debuffs on the Necro boss once that shield is popped, because we have some harmful effect rates and we have some cooltime turn things, so he'll have this skill up more to land a defense break or to do big damage. So yeah, that standard Necro Rigel, Violent Revenge. Here's my Julie. She stayed the same from last month. She is an option for a cleave team, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use her. My guildmate above us really likes using Julie on his cleave team, and he uses Ganymede with her. I have both of those monsters, and I am aware that if Julie takes some damage, she won't do as much damage because of how this skill works, but I don't know if it's that big of a deal. I don't quite remember. So yeah, she's just used for the Fire Rift Beast right now for her AoE. Here's my Shaolin. She got changed quite a bit from last month because, and it wasn't necessarily an improvement, last month she was in the backline of my R5 team, and this month I had some really good suggestions from my viewers on YouTube. I had a few people leave me comments telling me that I should move Shaolin to the front line and move Mi Yang to the back because I wasn't utilizing Mi Yang to her fullest potential, because when you put her in the front line, you have to give up a lot of attack. So my Mi Yang's heals were actually really weak, and this month they're strong because she's in the back line now. So Shaolin's a frontline Shaolin, and I think that's what you should do if you have the choice. Shaolin, I think, really belongs in the front line, and Mi Yang belongs in the back line. So I changed her, and my R5 runs got slower, so, you know, I guess I lost damage, and that's the main reason why. So I'm still figuring out the whole R5 team, whole R5 team situation with my monsters. Last month I built my monsters really tanky, and they were doing really well in R5, but I think I might kind of be at that point, well, maybe not, I don't want to say this, but I might be able to add in a third damage dealer because I was noticing I don't really need both Colleen and Mi Yang healing. I feel like both their heals are so huge, I don't feel like I need all that stuff, so I'm still going to run this team, but yeah, I have some thoughts going on in my head about my R5 team and where it's going, so we'll have to see what happens to it in the next couple months. But yeah, this is how it is for now, so it just got slightly worse, pretty much the same though. Here is Rena. I actually ruined her up as an extra monster just in case I was able to use her in Guild Wars against Sierra teams. So last month I was actually watching some of Shredded Puzzles' Guild War videos, and he was using an interesting team that I actually have. It was Hua, Velajul, 2 fire monsters, and then a wind monster. I have Ritesh and Chasun. I think Ritesh is better because Chasun can proc off her immunity buff with Violent because she's fast. Ritesh is slower, he is on Violent. So I was successfully able to use that team a couple times with the whole elemental thing. So I would bring that team against teams with fire threats and wind threats because they won't hit Hua. And then I failed a couple times too, just because I brought it into like weird things where I was taking a risk. So I decided to kind of go for one of those sort of elemental monsters. There might be a couple situations where I'm able to use Rune, and I think I had a couple fights, maybe like 1 or 2 fights where I used her in the last 2 weeks, and I think I lost them. So yeah, not really using her, but I did rune her up just in case I was able to. So yeah, that's Rune. Next, and she's not runed up for Arena, so this is not her Arena build. I would make her better. I'm pretty sure I have a better build for her if I used her on my Arena defense during Rush Hour. She's just kind of on leftover stuff. My Huadam got rune priority over her. Like, a lot of tanky monsters got rune priority over her, so she kind of has bad runes. Well, she has good runes, but she didn't get my best. Here's my Tark. Unfortunately, he kind of got de-runed. I'm not sure what he gave runes to exactly, but I'm not farming things where I use him this month, so I use him in dragons and on some of the Rift Beasts, but like I said, my Rift Beast situation's kind of bad. I've been having to use more energy because I'm not scoring as high, and I was a little bit too lazy to rune him back up. Maybe next month though. This month I'm probably just going to be farming giants. That's my main plan. We had a crystal event go on, so I have 3,000 crystals. We have that 1,000 crystal thing going on over here. And how did I get the rest? Oh yeah, TOA hard just reset. I don't know how I've been getting so many. I'm not spending any money right now. I might buy up that 3-year anniversary package, depending on if it's a good price. But, well, I am spending money on the daily pack ones. So I might burn all those crystals in giants. That's sort of my plan, and I don't use him on my giants team. If I did though, it might be slightly faster. So yeah, de-runed, and also, yeah, I think I might be farming giants this month. We'll talk about that later, but I think I'm going to be farming giants because I still need to look out for runes to make my Lushens better. My Lushens is, I think they're going to be my long-term AO, and I think I need to keep making them better because they're going to be the best AO that I have. Here's my Miang. She did get switched to the backline, so she gained a ton of attack, and her heals are so much bigger than they were before. Her heals last month were like little baby heals, and you guys will be able to see in the run, she basically heals my team from a quarter health to full with her heals. So yeah, I kind of ruined her up. I looked to make her tanky enough for the backline, so I looked to get her around 18,000 HP and 1.2 thousand defense. It looks like it might be right around there. Those were the 2 stats that I shot for, according to that one Reddit comment that I showed you guys last month. And then I looked to make her really fast so she can heal a lot. I don't have her on violent just so she doesn't take up turns and tick up the boss's thing. 70% resist for R5, and that was pretty much it. Then attack. So I think she's looking pretty good, I think. But yeah, I don't use her anywhere else besides R5. Here is my other Rigel. He's a very standard Necro Rigel. So Violent Revenge, and this one I runed up after that first one. Like I told you guys, this one doesn't have full skill ups, and the other one does, so I runed that one up first. I made that other one do as much damage as he could, and then I speed tuned this one to move before him. They're actually tied, but as long as you order them in the correct order, so as long as I put this one furthest left in the monster order, this one's gonna move first. So yeah, and then I just tried to make him do good damage. Here is my Orion. He changed pretty drastically from last month too. So, last month my Orion was really slow. I looked to make him tanky. I wasn't really sure what stats I shot for last month. I briefly mentioned earlier, I've seen some Orions that people shoot for a certain amount of tankiness. They mainly look for HP so that the Orion can survive single Lucian in Guild Wars and Arena. And then after that, they look for speed. So this month I said, screw tankiness, I'm going for speed. So Orion, I made him as fast as I could make him just to test out how I liked that this month. And it's better from last month, I would say, but it's not his final form. I think the proper way to build, well, maybe that's not the correct thing to say, but I think a better idea for him would be to make him tankier and try to get good speed too. I'll show you guys where I'm using him. I'm still using him in Guild Wars. On Guild Wars offense, I have to be really, really careful where I bring him because he's so squishy. I have to make sure he's not going to get focused, he's not going to get popped right off the bat and just die because he's so squishy. In this instance, where I'm using him on this Guild Wars defense, I think it's a good idea to have him move first, just to kind of scare other people. And he does defend against copper bulldozer teams, which I think is important. And most people, I don't think, build their copper or bulldozer on will, so Orion can get the jump on him. I have seen some really nice people have sent me videos of them hitting my Guild Wars defense this month, and my Veligil has gotten Callied and maybe bulldozered too, because he doesn't have very much HP, so I might look at kind of changing that. Yeah, so Orion right now is on the fastest build I can make him, so he's just pure speed, and it's been going better compared to last month, but I might change him again in the future. So that's Orion. Next monster is my Chandra. I runed him up just with extra runes in case I could bring him to some fights, and I've actually been able to bring him to quite a few because he's so tanky and he does have good support skills and utility. So I've been able to bring him to a few things. I did Devilmon him, and luckily enough I was able to get his defend skilled up on the 3rd Devilmon, and those are my only plans for him. I'm not really sure if I will make him any better. I do think he's actually a pretty good option for me to use for Guild Wars, even though he's not the best Nat 5. I think he's pretty strong. So maybe I'll look at improving him. So I just kind of ruined him up with extra stuff, and I gave him 60% crit rate, then I looked for HP, and I made him about the same speed as my Ritesh. Right now both of my Beast Monks are really, really slow, but I'm okay with that for now, and I had to give some fast runes to my Veligil and Chasun because I made Theomars so fast. So yeah, he's just kind of on leftover stuff, and he's looking okay. Here is my Beretta. I had to rune him up this month for TOA hard. I did use him on my TOA hard auto team, and let's talk about that real quick. So last month I did test out Thrain for TOA hard auto, but it was pretty slow and my Thrain's stats were very bad. So I'll pull up the team that I used, and I think I was able to auto all but 3 or 4 floors. I did switch out some monsters, so Beretta, Chasun, Arya, and oh yeah, I used the old team, so Briand actually got runed back up, and that team has been working really well because since the first time I used it, maybe 5 months ago, something like that, my rune quality has improved, so the team got better and stronger. I also used Arya and Vero, so I runed up Vero too. This is the main team that I used for most floors, and any floors that I failed on, I would substitute Veligil in for certain things, so I would put Veligil in, and then sometimes I would put Huadam in too, and I know a lot of people don't have those monsters, so just be aware. Oh yeah, and I don't think I used Ganymede at all, because I just feel like he makes things slower because he just keeps resetting things, and it's just like, damn, that's slow. So yeah, I don't think I use Ganymede, besides for Lyrith. So yeah, I really like this team with Veramos, and that was my original TOA hard auto team. So I runed up Beretta for that. Let's go back to him. So yeah, he's on a standard TOA hard build, 45% accuracy, really good speed, and tanky enough to survive TOA hard. I'm not sure exactly what HP and defense you should shoot for. This, I think, is definitely enough, like 33,000 HP and then whatever defense. I feel like he's a little bit overboard here on the tankiness, but it's good if you can get it so he won't die. So yeah, there's Beretta. Here is my Colleen. She is one of my R5 healers. This month, she got bumped down to a single revenge set. If I recall, last month she was on 2, which kind of sucks. It's better to have 2 or 3 revenge sets on her for R5. And I also made sure to give her 45% accuracy because I am using her on my Necro team, and I want her to be able to debuff in Necro. For R5, you only need 15% accuracy. So let me pull up my notes over here to make sure I'm not missing anything. With Colleen here, yeah, that's it for Colleen. So she's just my R5 healer, and that's the only place I use her right now, and Necro. Here's my Velajul. So Theomars got sped up a lot, so did Chasun, which means that I had to make Velajul faster than both of them so he can cleanse before they move. And I was testing out Theomars, Velajul, Chasun, everyone with a will set against Sierra Orion teams, but it just went too poorly. A lot of the times Orion would remove a will set from someone, even though my monsters have pretty good resist. Velajul has 50% resist. What does Theo have? He has 15. Well, that's not good. And then I think Chasun, let's find her. She has 61. So Orion just for some reason would still wreck my team. He would stun things, defense break things, Perna would kill things. I fought Sierra Orion teams with Pernas, Rakans. I think the best way to handle Sierra Orion teams is going to be with a cleave team with Galleon, where you can kill their threats after they move. Rather than with this team, maybe I built my monsters wrong, but the odds that they proc violence is just not good, and my Velajul can die to Pernas, and Rakans take him down very far because he's squishy. I don't know, maybe, yeah, I have noticed that. Maybe it's just his HP. So, did I show you guys these runes? I think I did. So with Velajul, if you're using him in Arena and Guild Wars, from what I've seen, you're supposed to build him speed HP, but mine's on a defense rune, just because I didn't want to give him another HP rune because I had a lot of monsters I runed up before him. Actually, Khmun doesn't have one, but I felt like kind of spreading my runes out a little bit more, if you guys know what I'm saying. So I did try to use one of my defense runes on him. This one's alright. And, yeah, but for RTA, having that defense rune on him, I think's better than the HP rune. But yeah, so Velajul, I don't know, maybe I need to fix him, but I had to make him so fast, and I lost tankiness because of it. Let's continue on. Next monster's Callie. I recently 6-starred her because I've seen a few people use her in Guild Wars, some people who've sent me videos too. So shout out to Cliff from Eat My Sin and Birdie. I forgot what guild Birdie's in, but Birdie's my friend. So shout out to both of those guys. They both use Callie. Cliff was using Callie with Chloe and Katarina. I really like that Guild Wars offense. It just seems so strong to me because a lot of people bring really tanky monsters in the current Guild Wars meta, and Cliff even said that. He's like, it's so good against the current Guild Wars meta. So I 6-starred her, and I might try to fit her into my monsters next month or the month after to use her as one of my Guild Wars attackers. So she's sitting out here just to remind myself that I have her and that I should build her eventually. Here is my Verd. I'm not farming dragons this month, so Verd got de-runed a little bit. And he is on my Wind Rift Beast team. Again, I kind of screwed those up because I didn't re-rune a lot of the monsters that I was using in the Rift Beast teams. So I haven't been doing that great in the Rift Beasts. I've been doing similarly, but my scores could be slightly better. So yeah, I'm not farming dragons, and that's why he's not ruined. here is my Freya. She is on, I don't remember how she got these runes. Let me see. It doesn't look like I runed her up. Okay, I don't know how Freya got these runes exactly, but she has these runes I would call temporary runes for her in case I want to use her on Guild Wars defense, or not Guild Wars defense, on arena defense. So this past weekend, I actually used her for Rush Hour, and I ended up finishing Conqueror 2. It was pretty close to Conqueror 3. I think I dropped down to this ranking from Guardian 1 in like 10 minutes. I didn't do any refills. So, yeah, she's just runed up on temporary stuff. If I did want to seriously use her for a particular rush hour, I would re-rune her, and I think she would take some runes from Bulldozer. Maybe not anymore, but she used to. So I'm pretty sure she would take runes from other things if I were to use her. And I think that's about it with Freya. Oh yeah, so she's on a will set, and then Birdie, my friend, I already gave him a shout out, so he actually tested he found me in arena, and he hit me, and he suggested that I put a shield set on something on my defense, because he was using Gemini against me. So this isn't the particular defense that I was using, but it would be like Freya in here. Let's see. Freya something, I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It was Veligil, Ritesh, Freya, Orion maybe, or Rena, something like that. But yeah. If and when I use my fire mummies again, I'm going to get a shield set on them for those Gemini teams. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep Freya on Will and then get the shield set on one of the mummies. That's what Too Lazy to Die does. So yeah, maybe when I'm pushing Guardian 2, you guys will see a shield set on one of those monsters, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep Freya the same. Wait, let's see. Let's talk about her stats. So she has 50% resistance, so she has 100% with her leader skill. And then her speed, I'm not sure. Freya's kind of a monster that I don't exactly know how to rune. The speed that you build her depends on what ranking you're fighting at. And then after that, you just go for attack stats, and you have to make sure her HP is at the perfect spot. I was using her with two different defenses. And one defense, I wanted her to die on the first turn, and the other defense, I wanted her to die on the second turn. So yeah, it was kind of difficult to explain, or it's like a long story. But yeah, I'm not really using her, I'm just kind of throwing her, well, I'm throwing her on defense occasionally. But yeah, she's not one of my, like, core monsters that I'm really relying on. Here's my Hua. Oh, she did get changed, but I don't remember what happened to her. Okay, so Hua, there's a little story behind her. So I tried to build her like a standard backline R5 Hua. So I shot for 18,000 HP and 1,200 defense just to make sure that she would absolutely survive. She's been dying on the third jump, maybe because she's a little bit squishy. So this month, I did look to give her damage after that, so I didn't really worry about her speed too much, but on Reddit a little while ago when I was doing research for R5, people were suggesting to build Hua fast and make her more of a support Hua rather than a damage dealer Hua. I think they were suggesting 200 speed, something like that, just so she's moving often and she's getting that slow up and she's pushing the dragon's attack bar back, or the raid boss. But mine is slow, so that might be an issue. I haven't really noticed anything. Again, I'm not like a super expert on building R5 monsters. Mine are just good enough with the runes that they have. If I go for a 3 damage dealer team, I'll probably have to look into it more because it's going to be much more precise and I'll have to rune things correctly. So one thing with her though, and with Shaolin, I looked to give her good resistance. Last month, I was noticing that my Hua didn't get stunned as much as Shaolin did. Shaolin was always stunned in R5, and Shaolin was slow, so I tried to give her some resist too. She has 33%, but Hua has more, so I've always been trying to push that number, just because when your damage dealers are stunned, you're not really doing damage. The cleansers do help, but I noticed that I was having some issues last month with Shaolin being stunned permanently, so that is my Hua. Next monster is Lisa. She is a standard cleanser Lisa, or cleanser for R5. So she's on violent, she's very fast, and I made sure to make her tanky enough to survive in the front line. I'm running a 4-man front line for R5 right now. So she's tanky enough to do that, and then of course 70% resistance. I always go for 70% on my key monsters, like my cleanser, Lisa, and my healers, Colleen and Miyang. And then I'll show you guys, we'll pull up my R5 team so I can talk about it. My attackers, I'm not quite able to go for 70% resist yet. I don't think it's that important. I think other stats are more important than that. But for the healers, it is. And then with Diaz, I also give him 70% resistance, just because it's kind of easy to, because Diaz and things like Darien and Fire Panda, they're not that stat hungry. Darien's a little bit hard to rune because he has low base stats, but those monsters aren't that stat hungry. Basically, you just need to give them enough defense and HP, and then that's kind of all you need, so why not go for resistance too? Other people might suggest to go for resist, but I always do that on those other monsters too. So Lisa's just pretty cookie cutter. Here's my bulldozer. This month he got 22 speed faster, and he also gained, I think it's like 100, hold on, let me pull him up. So he gained 113 damage per punch when he uses his third skill, and he punches twice. So he did see overall improvements. I think he lost like 33 HP, something like minuscule, but basically he got better. So just very slightly. The speed's a good thing though. So yeah, he improved. Let's talk about Bulldozer though. I actually haven't been using him that much in Guild Wars. I'm not able to use that Copper Amesity Bulldozer team that often because I just can't find any defenses that I can kill with that. Even Khmun, Chasun, Theomars, it's not guaranteed that my Bulldozer will kill a Khmun, and he's doing 18,522 damage times 2. And Khmun's survived that, so I've been staying away from using him against that team, and I have a pretty good solution for that. I use Amesity Copper Ganymede. You know, people don't have Ganymede though. So I've been thinking I either need to de-rune Bulldozer, because this month I don't think I've even used him once, or I need to build a specific team around him. If I were to de-rune him, that would be, if I'm not using him, de-runing him is a good choice because the runes are just kind of sitting here and doing nothing. So my guildmate above us was using Bulldozer, Talc, and one other monster, I forgot what it was. So I might look at building a specific team for him. I'm not sure. I haven't done enough research to know what to use him with. I actually saw Vayne Solidor using Talc too with Bulldozer, so I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. So right now he's just kind of gathering dust, even though he has really good runes on. Here is my Fire Panda. He got de-runed because I don't like using him in R5. I feel like I'm better off using Diaz or Darien. So yeah, poor Fire Panda, he's never been that extraordinary to me. I've never liked using him, so he's de-runed, but I might have to rune him back up just in case I need that defense leader for R5. And my guildmates were telling me, Denbo specifically, shout out to Denbo, so Denbo was suggesting to build him with damage. Again, it's really easy to get those recommended stats for R5 with him, so that's what I saw when I was doing my builds, so I might look to go for some damage on him, defense, crit damage, defense, something like that. I don't quite know, but yeah, he's just out here for whatever reason. Here is my fire homunculus. I switched him over to fire this month. Last month he was water. I did test him out with cleave teams, but those didn't work out, and I believe these were actually no. So I was gonna say these were the runes that I was using him with, but his crit rate's only like 30%. So he just has these runes on kind of for no reason. I just didn't take them off of him. So yeah, 33% crit rate's not going to be good enough for a cleave team or for anything. I don't know how he ended up with that low crit rate. Maybe I calculated my builds wrong. So he's definitely an option for a cleave team for me in the future. But again, I'm not sure what my best monsters are for that. It might be better for me to switch him to water, I don't know. So yeah, not using him this month. Here are my fire mummies. They are de-runed, so we're just gonna show their skill ups. They are fully skilled because we had a secret dungeon a couple months ago, and yeah, they've been fully skilled for a few months now. So I am not rushing right now, and I am not using them. I might be able to get away with using them even though I'm not really rushing. I am rushing, but I'm not doing refills during it. Well, I'm rushing if I have time to, but I'm pretty much going to be finishing Conqueror 2. That's where I end up when I don't really try, and even when I do try. Last week, I was here during rush hour. I was spacing out my attacks, and I still ended up Conqueror 2, so Conqueror 2 I feel like is a really big bracket, so even if I fell asleep and didn't even rush, I think I'd be Conqueror 2 anyways. I don't really need to stay up for rush hour. So when I look to push Guardian 2, I think I may end up using them again. It's still kind of up in the air though. Yeah, I could try a Khmun, Ritesh sort of defense, or, you know, Ritesh, Velajul, Freya, that sort of thing. But I might use them again, I don't know. So it's like 50-50 right now, maybe, stay tuned. Here is my Khmun. He's a new addition to my monster box this month. I pulled him in one of my summoning videos a couple of weeks ago. So for his build, I looked around at other people's Khmuns and tried to make mine similar. I'm still getting familiar with him. I did summon a couple other Khmuns when I summoned for him, and we also had a water Anubis secret dungeon, so I had a few of those left over, so he has a couple skill ups. So I'm still getting comfortable with him, trying to understand what stats I need to go for. Yeah, I like the damage that he does because sometimes I bring Khmun, Theomars, Chasun against those Sierra Orion teams, and Khmun's able, if Theomars misses his defense breaks on Sierra, sometimes those Sierras are really tanky, Khmun can come in and do some damage, and I have seen Khmuns that are just pure tank Khmuns that are really fast, so they put their shield up a lot and they're very tanky. So I'm not sure if I hit good enough HP and defense on him. But yeah, I feel like the speed's alright. He's pretty fast, so yeah, I tried to make him a generalized Khmun based on what I saw other people doing, and I'm not using any slot for crit rate runes, so I figure let's just put this one on him, let's give him some crit rate, and see how it goes. That rune's actually pretty good too, it has pretty good subs. So, that's Khmun. Next monster is Copper. So Copper, oh yeah, Copper stayed the exact same from last month. I looked at builds for him, but I couldn't find any that I thought were upgrades. With Copper, I was looking around at other people's Coppers as well, and no one builds speed on their Copper, so I'm pretty sure I'm building him correctly, going for 70% crit rate and then as much damage as you possibly can have. There's one debatable thing, sort of. Let's say you have a couple builds that are similar in the damage range. Copper's defense is important because of his third skill over here. So I think it's better to stack defense if you have two builds that are similar. Let's say one build has higher crit damage but lower defense, and the other build has higher defense but lower crit damage. I think people would choose that higher defense build. So yeah, Copper, standard Copper, all that good stuff. Here's Bernard. He actually got 3 speed faster this month. I picked up an upgrade. I think I have the screenshot on my phone somewhere. I may not end up showing it to you guys. It might have been this one, because I honestly don't remember which rune it was, and I'd have to go through all my phone pictures, and I take a lot of screenshots of runes that pop up and stuff. So 3 speed faster. He is using this rune though, which is a little bit disappointing because it's a flat defense rune. And I think I mentioned this before, but I know I'm gonna have to go faster with him. I did have to lose some stats. I lost a ton of accuracy on him. Let me pull him up over here. So I lost 51% accuracy, and I lost a little bit of effective HP. His tankiness is about the same though, but the accuracy I was really worried about, because I like to have him have high accuracy, because in arena there are things like Chasuns that may have high resistance, Renas, and I like to be able to debuff fire monsters. I run into a lot of Pernas that I fight, Lycas, so I was really worried about losing 51% accuracy and dropping all the way down to 23%. Well, 23 plus 51, 74, that's what he was before, that's what he was last month. I hope I did that math right. So, like, I'm talking and, like, I didn't get to fully think about it. So with Bernard, with that, he's been performing the exact same, so I was pleased with my decision to speed him up by 3 speed, and it's always a celebration when Bernard gets faster, because it's pretty rare that I'm able to find any runes that make him faster. So yeah. Awesome, Bernard's faster, yay, 300 speed. Here is my Mav. He is on my he's on my Fire Rift Beast team, so he can refresh the cooldown of my AoE attackers just to make sure that they have their AoEs up when those fireball things show up, all those little things. Yeah, Mav's looking pretty crappy, and I just use him on that team, so he can kind of be crappy for that. Here's my Shimate. I did look at giving him more damage this month, because last month his damage I felt like was a little bit low. So I'm still using him on arena offense occasionally. I would say 10% of the time I use his offense, the offense that he's on, which I will show you guys in a second. And this month he actually only gained 17 damage, so maybe it was just because he was too far down in the rune order that I wasn't able to really improve him. So I use this defense, or this offense, 90% of the time, and this one 10%. It's just a rough estimate. So I still use him, and I wanted to make him good, but he didn't get that much better, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it was just because I runed him up too late, I don't know. Here is my Lagmaron. I was testing him out with cleave teams, but I gave up on those because I already improved enough. I had enough improvements where I didn't feel too pressured to get that cleave team going, and I wanted the rest of my monsters to be good, my Guild Wars stuff mainly, because if I get a cleave team going, my main focus is still arena, so I will most likely rune up my Lushens first, then my cleave team, and then all the rest of my monsters, which means a cleave team's gonna take some runes away from monsters maybe like Theomars. I'm not sure if I'd rune Theo before them. Maybe I would. It depends. And Lagmaron, again, I'm not sure if he's one of my best choices for a cleave team damage dealer. I think the multiplier on his third's kind of low, but it does provide a lot of utility with a possible stun and the attack power decrease. So, and then aside from a cleave team, I can't find any uses for him. I thought about building him, using him with a team that moves first, so something like Galleon, Bernard, Lagmaron, but for Guild Wars, but there's just not enough things that I can hit for it to be worth it to build him and make him do damage where that team would be successful. Sierra Orion teams generally have other threats that'll kill Lagmaron. So yeah, he's over here for now, but maybe if I build a cleave team, he might be one of the monsters on it. Here is Chasun. This month she saw improvements. Let me pull up. Well, actually, I had to do a little bit of a trade-off with her. So I did give her a will set, and I made her quite a bit faster. She gained 25 speed, gained that will set. Let's see what else. She lost 5% resist, gained 2% accuracy, and she lost effective HP and effective HP defense broken, which is always a little bit sad, but I feel like her stats are pretty good for a Chasun, and that will set was really, really great to get on her for Guild Wars. So I'm pretty proud of my Chasun and where she is this month. I'm very satisfied with it. And Chasun I actually only built recently. I think last month or the month before was like the first real month that I actually runed her up, because before I joined my current guild, I was able to get away with using Ritesh as one of my only healers. So yeah, Chasun. Great monster. I changed my mind on her. I used to think she was like kind of meh, but I feel like she's still hard to build though. But yeah, I like my Chasun. Here's Bernard. He got runed up because I used him on my TOA hard auto team. I did go back to my OG TOA hard auto team, and I think it's one of my best options for an auto team actually. I like Bernard because he stuns, he provides some utility with debuffs. So yeah, I will pull up that team again for you guys to check out. I would highly recommend it if you can build it to build it. So we have Baramos over here, and then Bernard. And for TOA hard, occasionally I would swap in Velajul and Huadam. And those were pretty much, I think those were the only monsters that I swapped in occasionally. So yeah, Ganymede just makes things too slow, so I didn't really put him in this month. Okay, let's go back over here. Next monster is the Lushen that moves second. So for both of my Lushens, I left them alone. I did look at improving them this month. I looked at builds, but I didn't find a build for either of them that I thought would make them better. I did look at speeding both up and decreasing this one's damage, but increasing the other one's damage. So combined they do more, but again, I couldn't find a combination that I thought would be a legitimate upgrade for both of them, so I left them alone. And right now I'm just using them in Giants and for Arena. I'm not able to use this one in Guild Wars because he doesn't hit hard enough. Things survive, and that is never good, so I don't use him there. Here's Delphoy. She actually got de-runed this month because I thought she'd be better than she ended up being last month. I used her a little bit with Amesity Copper Delphoy, and I didn't have much success with it, so I kind of gave up on her for now, but I know she's still a really good monster. If you go and look at other people's islands, I don't actually know if you're still able to, or if they disabled that. I saw something on Reddit about it, but when I looked before, a lot of top players had Delphoy built, so I still think she's a good option. And I was watching someone recently, I forgot who it was, maybe it was Aspire, it was someone on YouTube, and they were using Velajul and Delphoy on both of their Guild Wars offenses because immunity is so strong in Guild Wars, everything has debuffs, so I thought that was pretty cool, how that particular player really prioritized getting that immunity buff on both of their teams, but for now I'm not using her, so yeah, Delphoy. Next monster is Ritesh. He's one of the monsters that I left alone. I didn't find any builds that were upgrades for him unless he took runes from other monsters like Velajul and Chasun, but this month I was testing out having Theomars, Velajul, Chasun be super fast, so I didn't want him to take runes from them because they need to be so fast, and my slower Ritesh has worked pretty well for a long time, so I'm comfortable with keeping him on the slower side. So yeah, there's Ritesh, and also some people I think have attempted to copper me, but my Ritesh ends up surviving, so I might look to push his HP a little bit more, or maybe get like a shield set on the team, maybe put like Violent Shield on him. I do want to get Will on him, but yeah. So I've been noticing, I just thought I'd kind of mention that, I've been noticing that sometimes Ritesh is one of those monsters that can survive copper. It's risky to copper him, and I might be more vigilant about that fact when I do build him next month or in the future. But for now, I didn't really purposely go for a ton of HP. I just gave him good crit rate, and then I tried to give him good HP so he does damage on his third skill. Here's my Amesity. Overall, Amesity saw a few improvements, which I was really happy about, because I have mentioned Amesity is one of those monsters when you use him in Guild Wars, he just kind of dies because he's squishy. That's how people build him. And mine was kind of dying a lot, but I've been a bit wiser with which fights I bring him to. I've been a huge fan of using Amesity Copper Ganymede. I would highly recommend that team, but you have to be careful with it. I use it against Khmun, Theomars, Chasun. It's basically a free win against that team. I think the odds that the other team has of beating my team is very low. It's like 1% that they actually end up beating my team. So, Amesity, let me check him out. So he gained 4 speed, he lost effective HP, but he gained effective HP defense broken, and yeah, he's pretty much the same, but he got slightly better, I would say, looking at those stats, so I was happy about that. And hopefully I'll have some Guild War videos out soon. I haven't really thought of a good way to do them. Yeah, I haven't really been liking doing the commentaries, and my commentary Guild War videos haven't been super well received, so I don't know, I'm gonna try to figure out something to do with Guild Wars. Maybe I'll do like a monthly Guild Wars update to show you guys what my favorite teams are to use and stuff like that. I don't know. But that one's really good because in the current meta, there's a lot of Khmun teams. I was going to try to find one, but I don't know if they have one. So let's go back here and find the next monster. Here is the Lushen that moves first on my double Lushen AO. And I did not change him this month. I already said I looked for upgrades for both of my Lushens, but I couldn't find builds that I felt like were upgrades for them. So with him, I do purposefully make him do little damage so he doesn't proc enough nemesis for the enemy monster to gain enough attack bar and cut in between my other Lushen. So yeah, and his speed and this Lushen's speed are pretty much irrelevant when you look at, I think they're irrelevant when you look at what I'm really going for. In terms of making sure the enemy doesn't get enough attack bar. So some of you might be wondering, why are they so far apart in speed? Well, it doesn't matter in the way that I'm using them. Next monster is Ganymede. So Ganymede got runed up kind of at the end because on free rune removal, I wasn't sure, I didn't have a plan of what team to use him with. With a lot of my main monsters, I have a very clear purpose of using them and a plan, but Ganymede, he just hasn't fit in anywhere. If I had Tiana, I might be able to make better use of him. Actually, no. Well, maybe for, no, never mind. Yes, maybe. But, even when I run Theomars, Chasun, Ganymede, or something like that, it's still kind of risky because of violent procs in Guild Wars, so I didn't really want to do that. But I kind of stumbled across a really good combination. My Amesity team, I'll just pull it up here, and oh my god, yes, I would actually fight this dude with it. Let's do a Guild War real quick, and I will show you guys the true power of this. This is really weird. I'm just randomly doing a Guild War. So I'll show you guys this team over here. So let's do that, and then I have to figure out what do I bring against that team. Huadam, I'm guessing. Huadam, if copper hits him though, he will die. Lushen. That's what we bring, right? So yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so let's do it. Here we go. Okay, so Lushen was the answer for that other team because they basically have no HP. Bulldozer might kill him, but yeah. So I Thunderstrike the Chasun, she's guaranteed to die, and then right here, if the Theomars is not on will, I reset him, but since he is, I reset my copper. So there is a chance that I get defense broken, so this actually hasn't occurred, I don't think. So there is a chance that I lose, right? But I think it's just so small that this whole situation goes down that the Theomars actually chooses my copper to hit. Actually, we might have some issues because I'm still defense broken. Okay, and then, so yeah, actually, I don't think the Khmun can kill me, but yeah, at this point, it's just kind of a matter of when do I end up critting the Khmun. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm losing HP. We're gonna fill up Ganymede here because he might have a skill up to reset. Yeah, so I usually fill up Ganymede at that point. I've kind of gotten in tune with the, whatever you want to call it. Oh, did I crit there? I had the defense break still on me. So I'm just going to keep refreshing myself. And the Khmun does not have a defense break, so hopefully I'm able to crit before he kills me. And I think I will be able to because Ganymede just keeps resetting him. And yeah, at that point I win. So this team is super, super safe against teams like that. The Khmun, Theomars, Chasun team. And a lot of people run that these days. So it was really awesome that I was able to find a use for my Ganymede this month, and I've used him quite a bit, like quite a bit. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's hop back over here and find the next monster. So with Ganymede, I just looked to make him fairly fast. I did actually speed tune him to move before Theomars and Chasun do. So if for some reason I lose my monsters, let's say a guild war goes really bad, and I'm forced to use Theomars, Chasun, Ganymede, which again, I don't really like to because of various reasons. If I'm fighting against other teams, like with defense breakers, they can just kill my Ganymede if they get violent procs. So I speed tuned him just in case, and then I looked to make him tanky, and then I did look for some accuracy. His accuracy is kind of crappy. I was noticing when I was looking around at other people's Orions, they give their Orions, some people don't put any accuracy on their Orions, so I was okay with giving him low accuracy. Here is my Darien, so I do use him in R5 occasionally if I can. So the main circumstance when I bring him out is when the other two people that I'm running with have two Diazes. I like to have Darien because he has a different toolkit than Diaz does. He provides a lot of defense breaks, whereas Diaz really doesn't. So I like to have those defense breaks just to make the runs faster. So I'm only using him in R5, and yeah, that's him. I did give him 15% accuracy for R5, and then I made him tanky enough to duo frontline with like Diaz, well actually, like Fire Panda Darien or whatever, but that wasn't really necessary, so maybe I could have looked for some damage on him, but I kind of just gave him extra stuff, got him double revenge sets. I think that's really important. I don't know if I'd be able to give him damage if I gave him double revenge too. So yeah, Darien. Here's Bella. She did get de-runed a little bit. I'm currently only using her on my Necro team, and I really like her in Necro because she's a smart healer. She keeps my team alive compared to the Fire Panda. I did test out the Fire Panda in Necro, but he just kind of sucked. So yeah, I'm not using him, but I am using Bella. This is still my Necro team, but I'm not farming it right now, so Bella's missing some runes, and she was carrying a shield set because a shield set's good in Necro to help yourself survive. Because some of those waves that come at the beginning can like kill you. I don't know the exact mechanics, but people suggest having a shield set on one of your Necro monsters. So she had that, but yeah, poor Bella. I would have liked to use her for Lyrith too, but I wasn't able to. I was going to show you guys, but I feel like that would waste a little bit of time. So let's just move on. Bella's de-runed for now because I'm lazy. Here's Arya. I did rune her up a couple days ago before I did TOA hard to use her on my TOA hard auto team, and she's been working just great. Despair Revenge is the preferred build for her because when she revenges, she boosts up her attack bar. I have tested it myself in TOA hard, and she does fill up her attack bar, so that's really great. And for her build, I gave her 45% accuracy. Just like all of my important TOA supports, you gotta have 45% accuracy on them. Then I looked to make her fast and tanky enough to survive in TOA hard, and again, I'm not exactly sure what the recommended stats are for tankiness for TOA hard. I'm sure if you looked it up on Reddit, you could probably find a couple different threads on it, but mine ended up being fine. So yeah, and then I actually let her be a little bit slow. You know, she's not as fast as I usually go. I usually go faster, like 200 speed on things like Arya, but I let her be a little bit slow because I feel like that's fine. Next monster is my Huadam. This month I did change him and I put him on a shield set because a lot of times I will bring Theomars, Chasun, Huadam against Orion teams. Most of the time against Orion teams I try to eliminate Orion as quickly as possible because if you let him stay alive too long he will just start messing stuff up, especially if you don't have immunity or a cleanse. So let me pull up Huadam's build over here so I can see exactly what happened. Okay, so overall he lost stats. So he got a little bit squishier, he gained resistance, which is good, he gained crit rate. Some people don't like having crit rate on monsters for TOA hard, but that's kind of irrelevant because I'm not using mine there really. I was using Brienne for those floors. So yeah, he lost stats, but he gained the proper sets, or the sets that I want him to have, and I like the way he's built now. I really like the Will Shield Huadam build, and I did take him off of my Guild Wars defense because he's not properly built for that. So I used to use, let's go over here. I used to use Theomars, Chasun, Huadam, but I pulled Khmun, so now I'm using Khmun there. And if you use Huadam in that case, you have to build him. I mean, you don't have to build him, but I'm pretty sure if you're using him, you should build him to survive coppers. So you're going to need a shield set, and then you're going to need like 55,000 HP, depending on what rank you're at. For my rank, my copper hits 52,000. So I would make mine probably have 55,000 and a shield set just to be extra safe. I've seen some Guardian 3 coppers that can hit like 60k. I think maybe there was one that I saw recently. I didn't click on the video, but I think it hit like 62k or something like that. So you gotta build them properly, but I like this Huadam, this style better because most of the time I'm going to be using him on Guild Wars offense and the effective HP ends up being better if you build him like this rather than the anti-copper Huadam. I know you can build him with Despair and stuff like that, but I like the Will Shield a lot because there's tons of Orions, tons of things that are gonna have the first turn, and the shield's good there. Or the Will, mainly. So yeah, I haven't built mine on Despair, and he's slow anyways. Like, how many Despair Suns is he really gonna get? I don't know. Maybe it'd be worth it, but yeah, I like mine. So yeah, I'm getting more, I'm understanding him more and using him more and kind of developing my own opinions about him, so that's kind of cool. Here is my Veramos. I brought him out of storage and runed him up for TOA Hard Auto, so I showed you guys that team a second ago. And I like that team a lot. My OG TOA Hard Auto team actually ended up, I feel like, being better than my Huadam team or Ganymede team. Ganymede, when I used him, he just made things slow. He just keeps resetting things, and it's just like, come on, let the dots tick. I like this team better. And Vero's really great just because he has that dot. He can speed things up a little bit. So yeah, he's ruined for TOA hard. I didn't go too ham on speed for him, but I looked to make him tanky enough to survive, and I also gave him 45% accuracy for TOA hard. Again, well, not again, but I will link the accuracy guide for you guys down below if you are unfamiliar with it. Thrain's out here because, I don't know, I might be able to use Thrain in TOA hard as long as I don't use Ganymede, because I just want those dots ticking as soon as possible, but I feel like Thrain's not that safe because the enemies are going to be loaded up with dots, and they're going to be hitting my team because I won't have stuns on them. I prefer the Brienne team, and I feel like it's faster than a dot team. I could be wrong though because I haven't done thorough testing, but I do like the Brienne team. I'll pull it up once again for you guys to see. So we need Vero and Brienne in here. Yeah, I like that. I like this team a lot. Okay, I can't find Brienne, but Brienne goes there. There's Brienne. So yeah. That team, this team, OG team, and I think it cleared TOA hard pretty fast for me this month, but I didn't keep track of like how long it took me. Here is my Diaz. He is one of my R5 monsters, so let's go over his runes and I'll talk about him. I have double revenge on him, always good. I would like to have triple, but I guess I couldn't make it happen. I think he stayed the same, I don't recall. Yeah, I left him alone because I didn't feel like I needed to change him. And yeah, so let's take a look at his stats over here. Tanky enough to be a duo frontliner, just in case I had to use him with the Fire Panda or whatever. But yeah, so he's basically overkill on the tankiness because I am using a 4-man frontline. I did look to make him as slow as I could. Someone suggested that somewhere, and kind of the theory behind that is that he's not taking up the boss's turn counter, and you're letting your other monsters who have more of an impact than he does, your other monsters are going to have better skills, blah blah blah. They're going to be able to take those turns. So I did give him enough resistance so he wouldn't get stunned, and tanky. So yeah, I could look at maybe pushing the damage on him to make him do a little bit more. Again, I'm not an expert on R5 monsters, I just made this one tanky, but maybe I should start looking at people who are more advanced than me, who run 3 damage dealer R5 to see how they have their Diaz's built. I don't know. So yeah, there he is. Tyron's out here because I was debating using him for Arena, and I just had him out here for that. My Raccooni's out here again because he was a monster that I was kind of debating building for Guild Wars, but I feel like I'm covered. I don't really think I need him. I probably could build a pretty beastly Raccoony, but I have Wadam, I have Ratesh, I don't really know. I feel like I have a lot of stuff, so I don't have any plans to build him right now. My Isabel's out here too. Some people in my guild were telling me, I think a couple people were really pushing, they were saying, build your Isabel, she's so good. But the thing is, she's like so damn squishy, and Guild Wars is full of tanks, and she's not going to do well in that environment. So I was hesitant to use her there because I don't have Tiana, so that means that I have to let the enemy team take first turn and do their stuff on me. They can kill her there, and then also, well, I guess like the theory behind her is that she's gonna kill them after they take a turn on her, but why was I not doing it there? I don't know. I just decided not to build her, so maybe in the future, I don't know. Basalt's out here just chilling because he's cool. And then Orochi's out here because I was debating building him for Arena, but I kind of canceled my plans on that. Shout out to Hope from Elegy. So I was on Hope's stream talking to him, and he uses, I've been hearing that a really popular arena offense right now is Samath, Bernard, Kona, and then a very slow, hard as fuck hitting Lucian. So I thought I'd be able to use Orochi, because he has a speed leader just like Samath, but Hope was telling me that Samath is, I asked him, I'm like, can Orochi be used for Samath, or is Samath, like, does he bring a lot to those fights? Because since you're using Lucian, I thought you would kind of rely on Lucian winning the fight, but Samath brings, like, a lot of stuff. Damage, stuns, because I think you're supposed to build him on Despair. The resets, And he also has a strip on his first skill. I have Ganymede, so I'm pretty sure all of the Fairy Kings have that strip thing. So Hope was saying, like, no, Samath is like OP, you need Samath for that comp, or P-Sama. So, yeah, so I've kind of given up on Orochi, and then everything else over here is just fodder stuff. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the video. Monster storage. Gonna scroll through here so you guys can see what I've been hoarding. All of my Nat 3s towards the bottom I'm hoarding for skill ups if I possibly want to build a monster of that kind. And yeah, that's about all I think I really need to say about monster storage. And I'm also holding on to a lot of skill ups. As you guys can see, I have a lot of Nat 4s that I can use as skill ups if I pull a particular monster. So my Hargs are over here for Dark Harg. I have one of those, or maybe the Wind Harg. And the Living Armors are for a Dark one. If I pull a Dark one, I think I have enough. I was thinking about building the Wind Serpent, but I kind of gave up on that idea. And then I've been thinking about building these harpy things. I've been seeing on Reddit, I think the fire one's really good for Necro and also for some of those Rift Beasts. I was saving some of these for fusions, but I've been too lazy to fuse anything. And then now we're moving into Light and Dark monsters and Devilmon. So I have 8 Devilmon now, that's quite a bit. And the reason why I haven't fused stuff is because I'm not pulling any Nat 5s, so I can just use Devilmon on my Nat 4s. That might be a bad decision, but yeah. So let's look at unsummoned monsters over here. And all these scrolls, I think I'm going to summon them when I summon for the exclusive rotation. How long is that going to be? Oh, it's going to be like 10 days. So maybe 10 days, maybe I'll do a Path to Decency. I don't think I really have any information for Path to Decency. Nothing's really happened. So maybe I'll summon them in the 10-day video or whatever. I'm not sure. It might actually be more like 17 days because I might wait to do it when I get my guild shop or my guild stones or whatever from Guild Wars. So that was that. And then let's go ahead. We're going to take a look at only 2 runs here. So we're going to look at my current Giants team, my current R5 team, and then that's going to be it because my Dragons team's not runed, and neither is my Necro team. And I might show you guys my Rift Beast stuff right now. I don't know. So I finally built Galleon yesterday, and I made sure to speed tune him correctly. It looks like the AI didn't do the correct skill, though. So Galleon, I was testing him out with the cleave team, and which means that since I gave up on that idea for now, he was a little bit de-runed. He only had, I think he was just missing 1 rune, and he was moving after this whole team moves. So I was noticing on some of these waves, the first Lucian will amp it, but he will barely fail to kill the 2 center golems. So if Galleon moves first, he just has a chance to buff attack, and then the Lucian will kill the whole first wave. So my run times are about the same. They should be around a minute, and since I ruined Galleon the right way, I would really like to have Galleon on Violent Revenge, but I wasn't able to make him fast enough, so he's on like Focus, Shields, something, Energy or something like that. 110's like a little bit slow. And I'm hoping that I will be able to farm enough to burn all of my crystals this month. This month may be a month where I have way more crystals than usual because we had a crystal event, and I might also buy the 3-year anniversary package that comes out. So here's my Giants team, but some of this stuff doesn't have runes on. Verd and Tark don't, so we're not going to take a look at a run. I'm not farming that right now. And here is my Necro team. Bella's missing runes, so we're not going to look at a run either. And let's see. So let's take a look at an R5 run so you guys can see how much bigger Mi Yang's heals are compared to last month. Let me grab up my supports and we will get going. Let's see, right here. Okay. So gotta get the resist lead, and we're good to go. Okay, so when you guys watch this run, you'll notice that I feel like my healing might be a little bit overkill. It's kind of, yeah, it's overkill for sure, but I don't quite think I can switch to a one-man healer with my current runes. If I re-runed things a little bit, I might be able to do a one-man healer and another damage dealer. Maybe like a brander, because I don't have a branding effect. I think the only brander that I have is the Water Anubis. Yeah, whatever his name is, the Hall of Heroes dude. But I don't have skill ups for him. So, compared to, great, she used her Water Dragon attack when there was no defense break. And also, no debuffs at all. Do we have Diaz's? I think we just have 2 Diaz's, but when I run with certain people, I try to keep an eye out. Are we missing the defense break? Are we missing the unrecoverable? And I've been noticing sometimes we're missing defense breaks because we have a lot of DSs and we don't have many defense breakers. And in that case, I like to put Darien in. I already talked about that. So my only real substitution is Darien this month. Last month, I was able to use Fire Panda as a leader if necessary, but my Fire Panda's de-runed now. I just don't like that dude, my Fire Panda, and I didn't rune him that well, so I no longer have a defense leader, and I'm relying on other people to bring one. But yeah, so I think that's all I really had to say. Hey, I'm doing pretty well. I'll show you guys damage and assist. So compared to last month, I would say my R5 team got a little bit worse. My assist usually is not this high. My damage is kind of like the same as the other people I run with. Yeah, my assist is usually pretty low. Yay, this looks like it's going to be a pretty fast run. When I run with people who are like in my guild or whatever, usually our run times are around 2 minutes and 30 seconds on average. Yeah. Sometimes I've had slower runs though, like 3 minutes, which isn't good. I was running with above us. I generally like to run with people where we have faster times, but I'm not one of those elitists. I think I've been hearing, in channel 65, there's people who are like, LF under 2 minute R5 run or whatever. They say something weird, so I think that's kind of funny. 2:18, pretty good. So that was a run there. I didn't quite see Mi Yang's heals, but they're a lot bigger than last month. And now let's hop on over to the Rift Beast stuff because my teams are all messed up. They are all sorts of messed up. So this was the team that I got my original best score in, and I'm using like Chandra, like what? So I'm just using weird stuff, but my scores are pretty much the same. They're not as good though, and I had to use a Lucian for this team because I de-runed Tark. Yeah, it's all sorts of weird, but I'll just show you guys these in case you're curious. Ver doesn't have runes, Bella doesn't have runes, but I've been running it anyways. I'm not farming the lighter dark one, but I'll show you guys those. And then I'll show you guys my highest score teams in case you are curious about that. Hey, triple S. Ooh, S, not good. Triple S. Double S. Okay, so that was it, and I think that's all for the video. Let me show you guys some Guild Wars stuff, just so you guys can see my current defense. I already showed these. I've been doing a little bit better in Guild Wars ever since putting those runes on my monsters. I kind of failed to talk about it earlier in the video, but last month I farmed my butt off in Necro. I farmed so much Necro. Last month's video was the video where I got my new Necro team going, the one that I showed you, the double Rigel one. So, yeah, I farmed a ton of Necro, and that really helped with getting some will runes for my stuff, so I was happy about that. And for now, we're in Giants, and I'm looking for runes for Bernard and my Lushens, so hopefully all these crystals will pay off. Hopefully I'll craft some stuff that'll be good. But yeah, I think Lushens are going to be my long-term AO, so I gotta stay on the hunt for stuff for them to make them Guardian 3 Lushens. That's my goal, stat-wise. I forgot to show you guys Glory Shop and Guild Shop buildings, so let's go ahead and do that. As I said earlier in the video at the beginning, I'm at the point now where I'm purchasing scrolls from the Glory Shop, and I purposefully left my light and dark sanctuaries not fully upgraded, just in case I start doing crazy refills during rush hour to get Guardian 2 or whatever my plans are for Arena. There may be weeks where I have an overflow of glory points, where I have extra, where I'm able to buy the Devilmon plus all 4 scrolls and I'm left over with points. I don't really want to use those leftover points into Unknown Scrolls or Angelmon, so I left these two not fully upgraded, and I'll have to see how my glory point situation continues going. Right now I'm kind of experimenting with it, seeing how many points I get per week, and so far for the past 2 weeks I've been able to buy all of the scrolls, and I think I've had a couple leftover points, so yeah, I'll keep you guys updated in Path to Decency about this Glory Shop situation. Let's head on over to the Guild Shop. Unfortunately, I'm not quite at the point where I can buy scrolls from the Guild Shop because I'm still working on finishing out my buildings. So once I finish out all of the buildings, which I think is gonna take a little bit longer. If you do the math on it, it takes quite a while. After I finish all of these out, I will buy something over here, the scrolls or something like that. I may have to revisit the math behind these things to determine what is going to be the best option. But for now, I'm working on the flags, and I'm doing them pretty much evenly. I've just been buying whichever building is the cheapest. So earlier today, I actually bought the upgrade in the Flag of Hope just a few hours ago. So yeah, that's that. So that was it for the June Rune video. If you guys have any particular questions about a monster or how I built it or anything, feel free to leave those questions in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more Summoners War content. I've never said that before, the subscribe part sounded weird, but yeah, I've been getting some haters on my videos, so I'd appreciate a like if you have the energy to leave a click or want to. So hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you guys later.